Hello, my loves, and welcome back to another guest episode on UNFUCK Your Life, the show for ambitious women who are ready to calibrate to their next level. Now, today I'm bringing on another incredible female guest, which actually happens to be a year-long online friend. I feel like we've been connecting for the first time, freaking a long time ago. I don't even know how long ago. And she actually has the same name. Her name is Laura. And so in case you're not familiar with her work yet, she is an online entrepreneur from Brussels who just recently, I found out, moved to Marbella and kind of sold me on Marbella now, which is apparently a beautiful place to live. But she's from Brussels. She's a Leo. She's a biohacker. She's a world traveler. So we have a lot of that in common. And she's running a multi-million-dollar business called Elsynergy. Is that how you pronounce it, babe? Elsynergy? Okay, cool. And in my mind, I was like, how do you pronounce that? Her mission is to inspire women predominantly, but people overall to have financial, location, and time freedom. So she's huge on all things, creating your dream lifestyle through having a purpose-driven business. And it's especially for those who are entrepreneurial minded, who are creators, and who are ready to leverage attraction marketing, where basically what happens is powerful content drives thriving businesses. And so through her brand, she helps creators master impactful content, build loyal audiences, and monetize their gifts and their passions through passive income streams like digital products and online courses. So today we'll be talking a lot about how to scale a business, an online business, without hustling, without burnout, without clocking in 50 hours a week, and also why attraction-based marketing is so powerful. I mean, I'm huge on that, Laura's huge on that, and I think we both have a strong opinion on why this is actually the way to go. And also how Laura prioritizes her health, her mental, emotional, and physical health as an entrepreneur who's into biohacking and very health conscious, as well as what simplicity looks like in her life, but also specifically in her business these days. So Laura, welcome to Unfuck Your Life. This was a long introduction. I'm sorry for that. But it's so good to have you here to finally sit here and chat. It's been a long time coming. We've been planning this for a hot minute.
Yeah, thank you so much, Laura. I find it actually really funny that we're both Laura's on the even just seeing on the screen our names next to each other. It's
true.
We have the same initials, guys.
We have the same initials. True. We're similar age. We love travels. No, there's a lot of similarities, and it's interesting because I feel like we've been connecting a whole while back, and this interview has been a long time. Even last year in Europe, I was in Europe and we were texting already, and that was 9 months ago.
Yeah, we were trying to meet up in the south of France. But it was a little bit packed and all of that, and it was chaotic.
No, that was a hectic summer, but we're making it happen this year in August, guys.
Yes.
Might go to Marbella and explore a little bit. But for everybody who doesn't know you yet, who's not familiar with your work yet, I would love to kick it off by have you tell our listeners a little bit about your journey, your journey in general, your life journey, your health journey, but also your entrepreneurial journey. What made you start becoming an entrepreneur? What made you choose basically this path? And also how has this whole process shaped you as a person? Because let's face it, a business journey is a personal development journey on steroids. It's so intense. So I'd love to have you share what got you into that and what it did to you and your identity overall.
Oh, wow. Okay, there's a lot to unpack here. I think I would probably start with a little bit the beginning. I was always very driven. So that I'm an entrepreneur, I guess, isn't the biggest surprise to most people who've known me since I'm a child. But I used to be driven in a very different sense than the way I'm driven now. So I used to be very much this corporate girl, and I would do anything to have the perfect CV and really climb the corporate ladder. So by the time I graduated high school, I was already doing I had a mini enterprise, and I was already chief editor of a school newspaper or whatever, or I was teaching gymnastics to children, whatever I could do to add extra things into my life and be busy and create.
High achiever, type A.
I was doing photography, I had a little blog, I was literally out there.
Doing it all.
Yeah, I already wanted to be an influencer before Instagram existed, basically.
Wow.
And then, in uni, that obviously continued in different ways. I did literally any extracurricular activity you can imagine. And then I graduated. I actually have a degree. I studied in English back in Brussels, but I also went on exchanges to America, to Pennsylvania, and to Paris. And then when I got my MBA, I was like awarded the most entrepreneurial student. Obviously, no surprise, I must have ADHD because I was just like so busy and like jam packing my life basically. and and I thought, oh, I would love to be an entrepreneur one day, but I just didn't have the confidence to really do it. So I always thought I'm going to go to corporate path and I'll climb the ladder. And maybe when I'm like 45, I'll start my own business when I've like earned it, let's say.
Yeah.
And my first job ended up being in Paris. So actually that's where I lived a little while. And I worked for a startup and it was a great experience, but it wasn't for me long term. I did it for 2 years. I became a managing partner. Our company got acquired as well. So it was an amazing learning experience, but I was working 24/7. It was this kind of startup environment where, you know, you are expected to care as much about the company as the person who started it, you know?
Right. Right.
That was not the best environment for me because, you know, it's just a bit too much to start with, let's say. And I was very young and all of that. Anyway, I ended up leaving that, like, let's say, job. I mean, I was self-employed already, but I ended up leaving it. And then I went back to like a normal path. I was like, oh, this entrepreneurship, this was a little bit much for me. Like, let's not do that. Let's just go to a safe corporate job. Moved back to Belgium, to my home country. And I worked for an international brand as a brand manager. I managed 3 brands for Belgium and Luxembourg. I was literally their youngest employee and I had the biggest brands of the company. So I was very much like, again, like high achiever, right? I must have like all the big brands and I'll do this. And I was managing millions of budget and things like that. And it was amazing. I actually loved it. I was like, oh, this is it. I love it. It was an international company. They were going to like give me the opportunity to travel with my job. So, you know, I could move literally anywhere in the world with this company. So I was like, great, I can travel and I can feel like accomplished in some way, right?
Yeah.
But then COVID happened and I was put on furlough because the industry I was in was very heavily affected by, of course, lockdown. So I was unemployed for like a couple of months. But obviously, literally, my whole identity was tied to my job. So I struggled with that because I was so high achieving in a sense that I didn't really know what I wanted. At some point, I was just Laura, the brand manager. That like became my identity. So then if I couldn't do that job, still being quite young, I was way too motivated to just be sitting at home. So I thought, okay, well, if I can't help these multinational brands grow, I'll just help, you know, female entrepreneurs with their small businesses, and I'll help them with marketing, and I'll help them with what I know about growing a business. And so that's what I did. And I did not know this world existed, by the way. Like, it was like, to me, the fact that people were working online and like traveling the world and having freedom, I was like, what is that? Like, is that even possible? Anyway, I went for it. Turns out it is possible, guys. Laura and I are living proof of it. We're living it. And yeah, it blew up super quickly, like up to the point, like within 2 weeks, I had 5 clients. Like I literally went from 0 to 5 clients in 2 weeks of starting. Within like 2 months, I was making 5,000 euros every month. Within 5 months, it was 10,000 euros every month. And then I ended up joining forces with my business bestie, and we built the company together that is Elsynergy. So that's a company that I, you know, let's say grow right now together with her. And that is now a multi-million-dollar business. But up to the point that when we started that business, within 2 months of starting this new business, we made $500,000 in like 2 months. So it was like insane. Like I was just like, obviously I'm not going back to corporate. Like,
yeah.
What is this?
Yeah.
Like, this is like such an untapped potential of like monetizing, in this case now, my marketing skills online and helping so many more people. But also more importantly, I could have an impact on a personal level. Instead of making a multinational brand grow much bigger, I was actually helping female entrepreneurs get visible, get paid, monetize their expertise. And that was so much more rewarding, you know, like when people tell you they've, you know, signed X amount of clients, made X amount of money, grew to X amount of following, like that's much more rewarding. So I guess that's a little bit the story in a nutshell, but like long story short, I did not plan to become an entrepreneur. It was very much by accident, let's say, but I'm very grateful for it. And it all makes sense now. But in the moment, it was like a journey where it just felt like, you know, some setbacks, like being unemployed and stuff like that. But now I'm like, no, had to happen that way, and
Yeah.
everything was part of my journey. I learned something in corporate, I learned something in startup, I learned in university. Like all these things now make a lot of sense to me, if that makes sense.
Absolutely does. And it's so, so cool that you actually said that, yeah, like I just decided to join forces with my business bestie, as you do. Might as well. Like I love that so, so much because I know for a lot of people, like those type of like, business partnerships, it can like really go wrong. Like not wrong, but like in the way where, like you eventually kind of aren't on the same page anymore. So like it's a brave decision too. And like I really want to acknowledge that. And I'm actually curious, how do you guys do it? Like how do you split the workload and stuff like that? Like how does that look like to like own
Yeah.
a company with your business bestie? Like that's insane,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, I think number one, the way we started is maybe different than most people who decide to have a business partner. So she
Mm,
had her business and I had my business, and we were each successful on our own. So there's never been a question of like, oh, can she do this without me or can I do this without her? Like we
um,
both know we're equal, if that makes sense. Like we
yeah.
both were successful and we were growing at the same rate, and we were supporting each other in each of our respective businesses that we already grew to like six figures. So it's not like it was a surprise that we went into business together, because I knew her work ethic, I knew her vision. We had the same vision on like the business we wanted to run, and
Yeah.
the reason we went together is because we were literally building the same exact business, and I was helping her with hers and she was helping mine with mine. But I was like,
True.
why are we doing this duplicated? Like we could just join forces, divide the work, and be much more successful. And especially because we like about like having our life first business, like meaning prioritizing our life as well and freedom. And so how we split the work, I mean, we each have our zone of genius. As much as we're both marketing girls, we have, let's say, a different type of working. I always call Jeannie the machine. Like she is like really good at starting literally any project we set our mind to. Like she like blasts things out like super quickly, but I'm a little bit more detail oriented. So I'll be often more on like overseeing everything and the project management and more the details, whereas she will like be the vision behind, let's say, a new thing that we're doing and like kickstart that. And then we come together, divide, let's say, if we're creating a course, divide the lessons like, oh, this is more your area, this is more my area, and then we take it from there. So it is a little bit of, just kind of knowing each other and then letting that person lead in that area. When we had a team back in the day, we at some point had like 7 full-time employees, so it was like a lot.
7 full time. That's a lot. That's
Yeah,
a
now we
lot.
have freelancers. To be honest, it feels a little bit better with the way we want to run our business. But
It
back in the
feels so
day,
much better. It feels so much
yeah,
better.
it felt very weird for us to build, let's say, normal jobs.
No,
Um,
it's like
how
everybody
we can do
glamorizes
that.
that. It's like the ultimate reflection of success is like having full-time team members when in reality you become a manager and you feel
Oh,
exhausted and resentful and like nobody talks about it.
no, it's horrible. Like we've been in our business now for 5 years, right? So like it's been, let's say, a journey of like living different things. We our first 2 years we had employees, and then we decided to like completely restructure that because we were resenting our business exactly how you said. Like I felt like I built myself a corporate job. Like yes, I was traveling the world and doing all these amazing things, but I also had to report to my employees who had one-to-ones and who needed feedback and evaluations, and I had to think of their growth plan and their career, and I was responsible for that, right? And that was not a
100%.
vibe.
No, I feel that. I feel that to my core. So I love that you actually said, actually, we simplify. Like we simplify, and like everyone, like you, both you and Jenny, like stick to your zones of genius. And like it is, you can build such a lean business, especially with your model. Like it makes so much sense to have freelancers. So that is amazing. And you really like promote that too. You always talk about like scaling without the hustle, without the, like having to like manage so much because it can actually be very lean, very simple. And so, how did mastering content creation in particular become such a driving force when it came to your business growth? And how did that become kind of the foundation, really, right? Like of your
Yeah,
businesses.
yeah.
Why do you think most people overcomplicate it? And like, why is content actually like one of the main things to master once you got that? Like, you got a good foundation laid.
Yeah, so I mean, there's so many visions on what a successful business looks like.
Yep.
I never want to preach that what we do is the only way to do things. Like, I think
Because
there's
it's
so
not.
like I really don't think it is. Like, I think a lot of people can be
Yeah.
successful in their own ways. I think for us, what came most natural was being a content creator. Like, that's what we've always done. Like, funny enough, Ginny had like this is now literally 10 years ago, but she was a little bit like a fitness influencer back in the day. And I had a little bit like my fashion lifestyle Instagram that I also grew like to 10K followers. So like we each had always that draw to like documenting, sharing, creating content.
I feel
and, like,
that.
and separately, right? Like we had our blogs and we did photography, and like it's just like it's what came natural to us, and it's what we love, and that is also why that is what we want to teach. Because, well, number one, we have the experience in it, but number two, we're so passionate about it, and we know that at the end of the day, it's all about like building your brand, and content is the easiest way to do that, in a way that you don't have to rely on, let's say, ads, which can still feel like gambling money sometimes, right? Or having to rely on like cold outreach or whatever ways.
Sorry.
Yeah, like I don't love that personally. So it's like all about, we've always been about attraction marketing, of like get your message out there, create content around your expertise, like educate or share, document, whatever that way is that it looks for you. And then from there, you can always build a business, because most people don't always have a conversion issue. They have a traffic issue first and foremost. Like have had moments in our business that we deprioritized content and we were so obsessed with our conversion. Whereas if we just had 3 times more traffic, I didn't have to be concerned about my conversion, because I just reached that many people that I'll never worry about being fully booked or selling out a program. And so I've always had this approach of like, when you are visible, the sky's the limit. You can build several businesses. You can do even brand partnerships if you want to do that. You can sell out digital products, not have to trade time for money, because you have such a big audience that, like, I mean, we sign easily 400 new clients a month, but we can do that because everything is passive. Like we have digital products and people just buy on repeat from us because it's not our time on the line. So like my calendar stays free. I'm helping people, but I'm also like reaching so many people, and I can at least serve also many more people. Instead of, let's say, if I do one-to-one coaching, I could maybe have 5 clients, 10, like, I don't know, like, was this realistic these days? But, you know, like, I'm not going to take on like 50 people. Like, that wouldn't be fair towards them, because I don't have the time to serve them properly. So yeah, it's just a decision, I think, that, you know, Ginny and I have always been like, we have dabbled into different things, right? Like we've definitely tried out this, and like we tried coaching, and we tried group coaching, and we tried, all kinds of things, courses with a lot of support, courses without support. And I think after a while for us, it was about like, let's build a business in the way that feels most authentic to us. What do we want? We want a life first business. So that means setting boundaries around how we create things, but also equally understanding that we will need more traffic. So content will always stay on the forefront of building our business. And then anything else becomes easy, because we don't have to overthink it.
True. And what is your content creation process, now that you've been saying like this is basically the main thing you're focusing on, and Ginny as well, obviously? Like, how do you guys, like, what's your approach to that? Like, how do you approach content creation? Like, what gets you into the zone? What sparks ideas? Like, what is it that helps you create content more effortlessly? I think that's what like a lot of people who just listen to you will be like, yeah, okay, so like how how do I do that?
Yeah, of course. Like, I think we always, like, I really always look for shortcuts. So if there's an easier way to do something, I will. So I will create my own templates. So when I create a carousel, I can, you know, make it a lot easier to design something. I will also equally use AI to maybe batch write some stuff, and then of course change it afterwards. But like, it's about using what's at your disposal to make your life easier, number one. But how I get into the zone is, again, a little bit a question of, I'm not going to force myself to create content, let's say on a Monday, if I'm exhausted and I'm not inspired. Like,
Cheers. Cheers to that.
Yeah, because like, what amazing content is going to come out of that? Not so many.
True. People who try to force their creativity, I'm like, how do you do? It's like trying to like, it's like when you're really exhausted, you're trying to like get turned on and horny. It's like, it's not gonna happen if your body's fucking exhausted. Like, it's just not, it's not realistic, right? Like, it's like, yeah, like you gotta work with your flow and with your body, with your energy, with your creative juices. Like, you can't force those things. I love that you're saying that.
I guess I want to share a story on that is a little bit like controversial, but like, for example, a year ago, our Instagram felt very dead because, like I said, we were focused on a bit more the conversion side of things and deprioritizing content. And of course, as a result, that meant that our Instagram felt stuck. And it was like stuck at the same follower count. We were even losing followers at some point. And
I think I saw Ginny's post about that,
we
actually.
talk about it sometimes indeed. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it's part of our journey. And so at some point, instead of just keep creating content that clearly wasn't hitting, forcing ourselves to show up because whoever wrote these rules that you have to post X amount of times a week and show up so many times on stories, we decided, okay, no, fuck that. We're literally gonna take a month break and just not do anything content-wise. Think about how we want to come back, how we want to show up, and what feels aligned for this next chapter in our business. And so, funny enough, like I was literally having a conversation with a friend of mine yesterday who feels a little bit in a rut, and she was like, yeah, but I have to continue doing, and I don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, but I have to keep doing these things. And I'm like, girl, like if you would now take a break and take a week, 2 weeks, maybe even a month for yourself, but then you come back much better, you'll be much further in 2 months, even though half of that time you took off. Because sometimes we stay stuck on this kind of hamster wheel that we created for ourselves, but actually taking that break, and for us that looked like not posting for a month, which seems crazy for Instagram girls, but we came back and, I grew 12,000 followers in a month. If I would have kept going at that same rate, showing up with this half-assed content that clearly wasn't hitting, that wasn't aligned with me anymore, and just forcing myself to do, I would have been less far in 2 months than me just taking a break for a month and then showing up better. So I guess it's controversial in the way that I'm telling you. Maybe just take a freaking break sometimes if it's really not working. Reanalyze, strategize, maybe buy some courses or get some things to help you. Like, of course, like education is always a good thing, but definitely don't force yourself to just show up for the sake of showing up. That's not always pushing you forward. It's like you're being busy, but you're not growing. And those are two very different things.
That is very true. So like basically the message here is like slowing down to speed up, like exponentially. Like have the courage to say, okay, actually, like let me be more intentional with what I'm doing, not just like do the busy work as you just said, because like people love to be busy. We're all addicted to being busy. It's amazing. It feels like we're important or something, right? But like when you actually give yourself permission to say, oh, like I don't have to like source my worth from how productive I am or how much I get done or do in a day, and instead like I just look at, okay, like what are the desired results, and like where do we need some realignment? Where do we need to reassess our strategy or content strategy, or like even especially like when you said like you felt uninspired by your content, and like people like felt it and like it kind of stagnated. It's usually because you kind of lost your own spark and your own passion. And like how can you reignite the fire? It goes like that goes for like any area of life, by the way. That goes for your hobbies, your relationships, your business, like all of it. Like how can you reignite the spark so you actually feel such a strong drive behind it, rather than just going through the motions, doing the same shit, like, right? Like that actually just keeps getting you the same fucking old results that you don't actually want. So I think it takes a lot of courage to do that, as you said, and it is controversial probably in a way, but it makes a lot of sense, because there's this saying that I always think about when people refer to this, like an arrow can only be shot by pulling it backwards, right? So like sometimes we have to take a step back to then exponentially fast shoot forward. It's like literally the same concept. And so I love that you guys did that, and it's like remarkable how you guys really amplified your results through that, but also at the same time it makes sense. So I'm curious, what did you guys change during that month? Like what came up? What did you reflect on? Where were maybe some questions you asked yourselves, and like how did that all like play out, and you actually gaining those like 12K followers in a month and like really growing from there again and keeping the momentum up?
It's a lot. Number one, on a more practical level, from a content point of view, we rebranded. We were like, even this visual identity isn't resonating anymore.
Oh, I saw that.
So rebranding, changed our content strategy. And that was all based also on, I think the biggest shift in our head was that, I think before we were a little bit, I always say to some of my friends, like in this online world, you have two worlds. You have people who build a business very much like a coach, meaning they might have a smaller audience, but they have really high conversions and they sell more high ticket. Or you have those online business owners, let's say even Jay Shetty, like people who have tremendous audiences up to the point that you don't always even realize they have paid offers. And they're just such a big brand, but they clearly focus on visibility first. So you have, the world that has like more high ticket conversion, or you have the world that is, visibility. Let's not worry about conversion too much because I know the visibility will get me into the places that get me paid anyway, whatever that looks like. And so I think when we started, we were in this place of visibility first. We did not care about conversion. Funny enough, we did convert, but like we didn't care about it. Like it wasn't our focus. We didn't have some next level strategy. And then at some point, we kind of got so influenced, I would say, by the coaching world that we were like, oh, our conversion rates aren't high enough and we need to change this and we need to do that, and apparently this is not okay, and we need to be more like this in our sales psychology and blah blah blah. And that didn't feel aligned with us because that's not really the kind of person, like we're marketing girls, we're not sales girls. Like we are really marketing girls first and foremost. We've always believed in visibility first, and then if it resonates, great, but I'm not gonna convince you to buy from me. I want you to want to buy from me, and I'm not even gonna give you a long sales page. Like right now we do checkout pages. You don't want it, great, that's fine. Like consume my content, that's enough for me. And so that was a big shift that we made in that month of like realigning with like wait, we said we didn't want to be like that, but we became like that in some kind of way. And now it's like realigning with like, and this feels very scary, right? Because when you've made a couple of million with your business, to say we're not going to care about conversion, that feels really scary. So we were like, we're losing followers, but you know what? We're not going to care about conversion. We're just going to share so much value on Instagram. We're not going to hold back. We're not going to worry that this will jeopardize the sale of this program and blah blah blah. We're just gonna show up and serve before we even think of asking. And funny enough, like we did that 1 month, we blew up on Instagram. The next month we doubled our sales. Damn. And we were like not focused on conversion once again. Like I don't even think we really had a big strategy on email marketing. We were just kind of like, hello, updates, like some more value. And at the end, oh, by the way, if you want to join this program, it's here. Right. It was so effortless, and it wasn't like some next level sales psychology thing. But I think it's also what felt aligned with us. Like it's, again, it doesn't mean that one thing is better than the other. It was just, this was what always came natural to us. And
I think that's the whole fucking point, right? Like you really got to choose what you just said. You got to choose what feels aligned, what feels authentic, what feels natural. Like choose that, whichever that is. Like that's so fair. I love that you said that. Like just share, instead of being so worried about people signing up and selling people, being worried or like caring about sharing valuable content and then giving an invitation or an option for people, opportunity, an invitation for people to join your world and to learn from you. And if not, sweet, don't worry, right? I love exactly. That's what feels good for women specifically. I so feel that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it changed everything for us because it changes how you show up. It changes what kind of content you put out. It even changed, like, the amount of times we wanted to post because we were not holding back. We were like, ooh, I have so many things I want to share, and I'll just share them,
Because it's authentic. It comes from this place of excitement and wanting to serve, not wanting to sell.
Yeah. I think almost taking, like, not having an agenda was, like, the best way to grow our business in some weird way.
And it makes sense, you know why? Because people feel your intention. People literally feel it through the fucking screen, which energy you created from. If it was from this intention of, I just want to sell my program and make fucking bucks, or if it's from like, I have something to say and I think it's helpful and it's valuable, it changed my life, it might actually change yours and like help you as well. And like sharing from that, like that's so different, even just energetically. And people feel it. We
Yeah.
think people don't, but they really feel it. So it makes perfect sense to me that
Yeah.
worked so much better for you guys. And I love to hear that because it's really empowering. It just, hopefully for everybody listening, it's a reminder to do you and to like be unhinged and to be unfiltered and to share what you're passionate about and to do it your own way, even if that goes completely against what all these online business gurus are telling you to do, right? Like that's such a permission slip and it's freeing. So I love that. I also know that you've been navigating a lot of like health challenges, and like we've been just talking about that before, like biohacking, like being health conscious as an entrepreneur. What's been your journey on that, and like how has that also maybe shifted your perspective on how you've been living your life, designing your business, all of that?
Yeah, health is a big one for me. I wish I wouldn't be saying this at 30 years old, but like, sometimes I'm like, oh, it's kind of sad in a way that I spent so much of my 20s worrying about my health. But yeah, I mean, I guess in a nutshell, so in our family, we've struggled a lot with breast cancer, specifically on the female side. So my grandma passed from breast cancer when she was, I would say, relatively young back in the day. My mom had breast cancer the first time when I was 13, 14 years old, like early teenager. So already back then, like, you're a teenager and it pushes you to grow up quickly because you don't want your parents to worry about you. They're having their own shit. So suddenly you're like, ooh, I need to be the good girl and I need to, in a way perform, right? I mean, not that that's on my parents, but just saying it from a place of that's the environment that you get suddenly because you're
Coping
worried.
strategy you
Yeah.
develop, yeah.
Exactly. And so then also when I was 20 years old, I had a tumor in my left boob, which wasn't cancer. So it's not like I had cancer, but it is still a surgery to get that removed. So it was a benign tumor, I think they call it in the medical terms. But yeah, like I'm 20 years old, like I was about to go on exchange to America, to Pennsylvania, and I still had to quickly go to a surgery to get something removed, which obviously for me felt very stressful because like it's my boobs. It feels like something cancer related, so obviously I freak
Yeah.
out because like my mom had cancer, my grandma passed from it. And
Can
then
only imagine. Can
yeah,
only imagine.
and then a couple of years later, so now 3 years ago almost, my mom had breast cancer again, the second time. This time it was a very aggressive kind, the kind that we were genuinely like not in a good place. She had basically the most like treatment you can get. She had it. Like she had, of course, chemotherapy, but she also had immunotherapy and like it was a long treatment, a whole long year to be honest. She's better now. Obviously, she's still in recovery because you're only considered cancer free 5 years after finishing treatments and stuff. But that being said, obviously that was not a great time. And during that time, I took a step back from the business and I really let it be passive. And it was passive. I'm actually very, very grateful for how passive my business was and that I was able to just be there for my mom for every, chemotherapy, immunotherapy, every doctor's appointment and just be present. And then, yeah, like I said, my mom was then doing better, but then the reality still is that obviously, as you can imagine, we have clearly some family history issues. So my risk on breast cancer is high as well. So then I decided to get that further examined. Turns out I had indeed like 80% chance on breast cancer to get it some point in my life. Like obviously not necessarily at 20 years old, but still who wants to, like, I already got my boobs checked since I was 20 because I already had those, that little surgery. So they already checked the activity of my breast to be sure that nothing else was going to happen. So that's not really something you want to have as like, indeed, a 20-year-old. You don't want to be worrying about, oh, wait, when am I going to potentially get cancer? Is it when I'm 30? Is it when I'm 40? Is it when I'm 50? And meanwhile, you just do your checks. So then I decided, okay, this is not the life I want to live. Like I've seen what it can do, to my mom and then my grandma and stuff. So
Yeah.
I decided to go for a preventative double mastectomy, which means that I preventively had my breast amputated and then reconstructed. I think maybe people know that Angelina Jolie did this. I think she's the one that
I heard of that.
yeah, she's the one I would say that kind of, I don't want to say popularized this because there's nothing popular about it, but like she brought the world into
Awareness.
yeah,
That's
awareness.
the first time I heard about it, actually, was
Yeah.
with her.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's the same surgery more or less that I did. It's like 2 surgeries, but it is tough. Like it's not in and out kind of surgery. Like my surgery was something like 5-6 hours. It was quite long actually. It was longer than normally originally planned, and then I had complications. So yeah, I was really like out for months. And then I had a second surgery a year later, and then you're out again. And So yeah, and it's a lot, right? You're amputating part of your body. You know, like you have no feeling anymore. Like even as a woman, what it does to you and your body and your self-worth is like, you know,
Wow.
challenging on a lot of ways. So I guess that's been my journey, which puts a lot of things into perspective. And I think often keeps my head cool when I think about the business that, you know, life is about so much more. Like I think a lot of entrepreneurs, we kind of get stuck into the game, right? Of like more growth, more money, more this, more that. And yeah, all of that is amazing and it's fine to play a game, you know, like as in want to grow, but it's also like I don't want to spend my life just focusing on a game and not realizing how grateful I am to be healthy and not realizing how grateful I am that the sun's shining today and that I can use my arms because like after my surgery I couldn't use my arms, I couldn't shower for a month because I was full of stitches and like I even had drains coming out of my body with like, yeah, anyway, I'm not gonna go into all the details, but like it was not like nice, you know, I was really in the hospital for a little while. So it's it gives a lot of perspective. Sometimes I forget about it, like I'm not gonna lie, because I've coped with it and you know I'm now in a better place. But then I'm also like, okay, Laura, remember, you know, life is about so much more. And yeah, it gives perspective.
Wow, I can't even like I was like tearing up a little bit when you said all of those things. 'Cause I'm like I can't even imagine, and I don't want to pretend like I can even imagine how that must feel. Like I can't even. And I agree with what you said. It's so true. It really puts everything, every little problem, so perceived problem in your life that is maybe money related or business related on like a grander scale where it's like it's about like should we make like 10 grand or like 20 grand a month? Should we make 100 or 200 grand a month? Like it's like that's not even a problem, right? When you look at it from that perspective and place, it's like that's ridiculous. That's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
when you're living that, like honestly, when my mom was in the hospital, I mean, even when I was in the hospital, like I didn't even understand that there's life happening outside the walls of a hospital. Like I couldn't
Exactly.
comprehend that people are living lives, like because you're literally in what feels in that moment between like you know like just surviving, you know, like
Survival. Yeah.
and you're just a little bit in a storm where that's your only focus. And yeah, the business was definitely like in the back seat. And again, I am so fortunate that my business was running well passively, that I had people to rely on that could make things run, and I had a business partner. So it's not like, you know, nothing happened, like I had people to rely on. But it's definitely not been the time that we launched new things and did a lot of new things. It just kind of was there to support me during
Maintenance.
that
Yeah.
time. Yeah, exactly. And I was grateful for it, and I still am very grateful for it. But I really didn't care so much about the business during that time because I realized that, you know, none of this really even matters. Like, you know, your health is everything. And it's like, they always say it, right? You have 99 problems until you have a health problem, you know, and that is very true, actually.
Wow. That is so true because we think we can influence so much, but then like health is just one of those things that is, at least to a certain degree, completely outside of our control, right? That it really is. And it's like, it's really on us then to like keep a cool mind and to like regulate and to like, to just really be present with that and like not care about like all these other little things that at the end of the day, as you said, like it doesn't even matter as much, if
Yeah.
anything. And so I
Yeah.
love that. And that's great to hear from someone who, you know, like is very business minded and is very driven and is very ambitious. It's like, it's almost good to hear that, right? Because I think it's so easy to lose track of what truly matters until we hit this point of like, shit, like this is a reminder what truly matters. And so I feel that, and thank you for sharing. That is so beautiful. I'm very grateful you shared this, and I think some people like listening can probably relate to some degree or another, and will feel for you. I feel for you, and so
Thank
yeah.
you. I honestly like I am grateful even for how fucked up everything has been in a way. I know I'm still lucky, you know. My mom is better and I'm good
That's so
now and I was
beautiful.
able to do that surgery, and in some way I look back on it with, and this sounds so weird, but still some type of gratitude of like it gave me perspective. It was part of my journey, and in the end I'm fine, you know, like and my mom's fine. And so you know, I don't like, that's why I said before, sometimes I forget myself. Like it's funny now here in Marbella, I meet people and I would not think of telling them this story because it's genuinely not like I don't see myself as a victim in any way. Like I don't.
You don't identify with that
No,
anymore.
I
Yeah.
sometimes forget that I had these surgeries. It sounds really weird. Like obviously there was a moment where I was healing and focusing on like reconstructing my self-worth in some type of way, but like now I am in a better place and I'm like that doesn't define me. Like I've learned from it, and of course, I still feel a lot of, in some way, emotions around that whole journey, and it's taught me so much, but I am fine now. I'm safe. I don't think I'm a victim. I'm happy. I'm grateful for the life I have, and even for the lessons I've learned during that time.
Exactly. I love that. And it's shaped you into who you are today. And look at you go. I mean, it's really shaped you into who you are. I love that. Well, with all of that being said, my last question for you, Laura, is what is your top tip to unfuck your life for our listeners? I mean, there's so many directions you could go right now. I'm aware we could go like into business or personal stuff, whatever. But like, what do you think is one thing that some people in our audience, like some of our listeners, might need to hear right now that will actually serve them in unfucking their own lives?
I think we fuck ourselves over a lot with setting these expectations on ourselves and write these rules of what we're supposed to do. And so I think my one takeaway would be, and I talked about it in the story before, is but like take a freaking break and rewrite those rules, or even let go of those rules altogether and show up as who you want to show up, and a little bit your higher self even. But sometimes that introspection and that time off and that rest and that recovery is so incredibly productive, but we fuck ourselves over in a way and keep ourselves stuck by staying
Keep
stuck.
going and going and forcing
Yeah,
and pushing and like demanding so much
yeah.
of ourselves. And it's like, for what?
Yeah, and I mean, I do this all the time. And by the way, I'm not saying this from a place of like, ooh, I figured it all out. Like, I know this because I struggle with it. Like, I am on a journey myself, like, genuinely. Like, I am learning every day and I'm healing every day and working on these things. But that is like a big thing that I think, especially if you're a go-getter, very type A entrepreneurial person, which I'm assuming a lot of you women are listening, because if you're listening,
Yep.
you are in some way entrepreneurial. And sometimes we need to hear that because we're too hard on ourselves, and we just need to let go of that rule book that was written by, like, quote unquote, the good girl who needs to be the good business owner and the good daughter and the good friend and the good girlfriend, or whatever that looks like, and just maybe prioritize yourself for a little moment and let go of those rules and show up how you want to show up. And
I love that.
nothing will blow up. You'll be fine. You really will.
Oh, I think that is giving a lot of women that hear this piece right there. Because it's so true, right? Like we sacrifice so much of ourselves, our happiness, our well-being, our own alignment, our authenticity, even for like just for people to like be satisfied with us, to be proud of us, to cheer us on, and to be like, yeah, well done, when it's like we're not even proud of ourselves because it's not even what we truly want to do, how we truly want to live. And so this is our permission slip for everyone listening to, yeah, take a break, take it slower, take care of yourself, put yourself first. It's not selfish whatsoever. In fact, it's your main priority. Like that should be filling up your own cup and like coming from a place of alignment and overflow. I always tend to say like, come from a place of overflow. You'll have so much more to give. You feel less resentful and you'll enjoy giving to others way more because it's from overflow. It's not from an empty cup. And so I absolutely love that. And I think we all need this reminder sometimes, because even if you are in a business owner whatsoever, like we all have these high expectations on ourselves, as you said, like even being a good partner and like just fitting into this picture of like that everybody might have of us, and trying to like meet those standards of other people and like fit into what they could potentially expect from us, rather than being like, actually, fuck all of that, I'll do me for like a month or whatever, and just do that, and that will feel amazing. So I love that. Thank you so much for saying this, and thank you for your time today. Thank you for coming on, sharing your journey, your story, all this value, all these golden nuggets. Super helpful. And for everybody listening, you can find all the information on what Laura does in the show notes, her Instagram page, and any other links she'll send me later. So if you loved this podcast episode, we would actually love to see that. So take a screenshot, put it onto your stories, tag us so we see that you loved it. Share with us in the DMs your main takeaways. We always love to read from you as well. Make sure to follow Laura on Instagram. And if you love the podcast, of course, subscribe to Unfuck Your Life on either Spotify or Apple Podcasts. We publish episodes every Tuesday. And with that, thank you so much, babe, for coming on today. It was great having you. And thank you for everybody tuning in. It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Laura.